Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet. Lakers, driven by your Southern California Honda dealers. I'm Chris McGee. The Hall of Famer down there is Big Game James Ward. They got a seven-time champion here, too. Robert Orr. We got Brez handling the duties down at Staples Center for Mike Trudell. Guys, Lakers lose their third game in a row. They drop back to 500, 16-16 after 32 games. Kind of sounds like a broken record, but this team just hasn't been able to find any consistency in terms of their lineups, rotations, and on the basketball court. And it showed again tonight as the Phoenix Suns take them down 108-90.
Yeah, and Phoenix is a well-groomed basketball team. You know, I think one of the best in the NBA right now. And I'm not surprised at what they were able to do. But the Lakers just and had some fight. Gita, they were down 6 when Carmelo got thrown out of the game. But the inability to knock down shots and turnovers, the same story, you know, every night. Either it's offensive rebounds, not shooting the ball well, turning it over. And, you know, Phoenix runs a well-groomed offense. They don't need one player. They have several players that can get the job done. So, you know, just a lack of, you know, no continuity. And I hate to say it, you know, we say it every night. You know, we don't know who's going to start for this team. You know, we just don't know. There hadn't been a chance to really gel. And it shows up in their play.
For me, when you look at this game, you basically got to knock down shots. And when you look at the assists, the Lakers only had, 14 assists. You remember a couple of games back, they had 30 assists.
32.
They were sharing the basketball. The ball was moving. And you look at it like, okay, when you're not getting assists, that means something's wrong. I look at guys not shooting the ball well from three. At some point in your mind, you have to say, okay, I'm knocking down threes. Let's take it to the hole. Let's try something else. Let's try to draw and kick it to someone else who might be able to knock down a shot. If you watch how Phoenix's offense ran, they got to their spots. They catch, they shoot. Keep it really simple.
Yeah.
The Lakers catch, pump fake, drive, and that's a big difference in this game. The game is simple. How Chris Paul makes the game for his teammates is simple. I'm a drive, I'm a draw, I'm a dish. And also you got to have guys who can knock down a shot, you know. 0 for 8 from 3 and 1 for 10 from 3. That's not going to cut it.
Frustrating because every time you think the season's kind of turning, you know, they're 16-13. They've won 3 in a row. They're playing in Minnesota. AD goes down in the third quarter. Minnesota goes on a 24-7 run. Okay, you lose that one. Then the whole COVID and the health and safety protocols, but they fight hard in Chicago, James. It's a great game.
Yeah.
But they turn the ball over 22 times. You come here tonight, you play a solid first half, but the poor shooting, the second half struggles. Just 38 points in the second half. 7 of 35 from 3. That's just 20%, guys. 12 turnovers in the second half. 7 turnovers by Russ. IT and THT, 0 for 14 from 3, just 2 of 24. Melo gets kicked out. I mean, the list goes on, but it just seems to snowball. Big Game James.
A disaster, Gita, when you can't afford to have any of those things happen that you mentioned. You take a look at the second half stats right there.
1 for 18, James.
Go ahead and talk about it, Gita.
1 for 18 from 3, Big Game.
I mean, forget the 3. You know, when I don't make my second one, I'm done with it. I'm going to the cup. I'm trying to get some, you know, some free throws or something. And, you know, if I got a teammate that's 1 for 5, I'm like, yo, dog, you got to go to the hole now. Stop shooting those threes because they were not working. And you know what else? If the Lakers don't find some motion in their offense, if they're going to allow LeBron to stand there, and I watched about 4 play sets in a row where the defense, all they're doing is watching, and there's no movement. You've got to make that defense work. That's why they only had 14 assists. When they get 32 assists, they're moving. And there's a couple times during the game, 3 or 4 times, where they will run something, and it looks good. A lot of motion, they get something. But then I just don't understand, especially when you're lacking players, you got to make that defense work. You got to move that ball and get some backdoor, because if you do that, the defense will give you something.
Yeah.
But the way they were running their offense, that defense wasn't giving you nothing.
David Fizdale, who was acting head coach tonight for Frank Vogel, said it at the beginning of the fourth quarter when he was interviewed on TNT. He said they need to help each other out. They need to move. Now, you weren't watching the game with us. You didn't want to hang out with me in big game tonight. But we were, watching the game, Rob, and in that third and fourth quarter, it was frustrating. And we were pointing it out to each other. I mean, look at them defensively. Rob, Phoenix, it was real easy to guard if you're the Phoenix Suns. They're just the lack of movement. Listen, LeBron was doing all he can. We know he had the hurt ankle. He had 34 points. But everyone just kind of standing around. And then when they would get a shot, Rob, it was off the mark.
Yeah, I was watching it with someone a little bit more important than my son. So that's the only reason I wasn't with you guys. But no, here's the thing is when you watch them play, meaning the Phoenix Suns, they was driving and kicking like I said earlier. When you're watching the Lakers, there's like, okay, who's going to shoot? We're going to pass the ball. It had one possession there where it looked like the whole team was scared to shoot the ball, and then THT has to throw up a shot with the shot clock running out. And those possessions you cannot have when you play in the #1 team in basketball. Phoenix Suns is the #1 team in basketball, so you got to execute like there's no tomorrow. You got to be precise. And they weren't precise tonight. And also, you really have to be precise when AD, your big dog, is out. And if you watch how the Lakers played, they didn't flow right, James. They didn't flow right. They didn't pass the ball right. They didn't take good shots. And then defensively, there's some opportunities where I think sometimes they switch too much. And then when they switch, they open up the floodgate. You can't tell me if you're giving Chris Paul a direct line to the basket, and as a defender, you're on the side of him, you're not going to stop that guy. He's too good. You're not going to stop Devin Booker. He's too good. Get in front of him, chest to chest, and then have someone help you and make an extra pass, make them make an extra pass.
Not to make me feel bad bringing up your son. I didn't do pregame. I didn't know he was here. I love him. All right, let's go back to Staples Center. LeBron James is speaking with the media.
Sides of the ball, that 48% shooting from the field as a team ranks first in the NBA, led by Chris Paul. Big game, leads the league in assists at just over 10 a game. No real surprise there without Booker for the last 7. Previous to that one, he came back. They were 5-2. Starts with his leadership.
Yeah. CP3 just like an old wizard. He's like an old guy that he's got that big wizard hat on. He's got that big wand. He's just, makes things happen. Wherever he's played, minus his injuries, he knows how to run a basketball team. This is an old school type, Oscar Robertson type, point guard that just knows how to run a game and can score when he wants to. That's the thing about it. He can score whenever he wants to, that little jumper from 15 feet and from behind the arc. But his verbal communication with those guys, I'm sure in practice and on the plane, it's constant. And he stays in their ear on the court. He's a disciplinarian. He's tough. CP3 is tough. He'll get on you. And so, but yeah, he's just a wizard, man. He knows what he's doing, and he's just enhances everybody. And he's made all those guys, better down there, including Booker.
Yeah, the thing about CP3 is he knows the ins and out of a basketball game. We always talk about LeBron James' IQ. This guy's IQ is right up there, too, because he knows the defense, he knows the offense. He's able to get people in a position to make them great. Think about all the guys he's played with throughout his career. He's made them great. If they got a little bit of talent, he's going to bring that talent out of them. And that's what you want out of your point guard. A guy can put you in the right position to succeed. And the best thing about that is a coach can sit back over there with his clipboard and take a nap with CP3s on the court because he's a coach. Yep. He can run the show without the guy over there on the bench. So this is one of those guys you love to have on your team because he's no doubt going to make you a better basketball player.
Talking about someone who he has helped to make an even better basketball player, obviously Devin Booker. We have to talk about him being back in his first game back after missing those 7 guys. 16, 5, and 6. He was 4 of 8 from deep. When you're dealing with a guy like him, big game, and you've got a depleted roster from that position as the Lakers do, what's the key to containing him, knowing you won't stop him, but you got to slow him down?
Yeah, one of Kobe Bryant's students of the game, Booker. He's dangerous. And, when he gets going, the way he can get his shot off, it's going to be hard to deal with him on the offensive end. I'm old school. I believe you got to go at his weaknesses, which is on the defensive end. You got to make him run off some picks, make him play on the other end, and that takes away, I do think it takes away from some of his offensive power. Get a foul on him. Make him play a little bit. But offensively, you got to contain him. You got to know where he is at all times. You might want to double him, get it out of his hands. But once he gets hot, I don't know. I hadn't seen anybody that can stop him once he gets going.
Absolutely. And when it comes to them as a whole, Rob, they've been pretty fortunate and lucky when it comes to COVID. They haven't had anyone in COVID protocols this season like the rest of the league seems to be going through. But when it comes to the Lakers, COVID or not, they're always ready to play.
Oh, of course. When you wear that Laker uniform and you play anybody in this league, especially the Phoenix Suns, because we know the Phoenix Suns, there's a couple players over there that just hate the Lakers. They just hate LeBron.